In this video, we're going to talk about how you can integrate your mobile applications using Rollbar's continuous code improvement platform. We're going to be making a few assumptions, namely that you're already an existing Rollbar user. This focus is going to be strictly on mobile and how you can get real insights into your mobile applications in real time at the code level using Rollbar. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to create a new project. We called ours Mobile Demo. You can call your project whatever you want. The name is rather arbitrary. And the next thing we're going to do here is we're presented with some different options. So if we go and click on mobile, you can see these are the different SDKs we support. So if we go back to our deck here, wanted to bring up a couple of comments. So these are the SDKs we support. I should point out at the time of this recording, support for iOS Swift and iOS Objective-C, those SDKs will be end-of-lifed sometime in 2022. So from a best practices standpoint, if you're actually creating any new iOS native applications and you want to instrument those with Rollbar, be sure to use the new Apple SDK. So if we jump over here to our project, in this example I'm going to pick Android Studio because that's what we're going through in this demo. So as you can see here, if you're used to Rollbar, this is the wizard, so we're not going to be able to get any further until we've actually generated some errors in our application. But just wanted to show you how quickly you can get any mobile application set up and instrumented with Rollbar. So we are using Gradle, so we're going to add these two lines to our build.gradle file. So if we jump over here to our Android Studio, we can see our build.gradle. These are the two lines that we need to add Rollbar to. And you can see that we've already done that here. We're not using Maven, so we're going to skip that step. But if you were using Maven, here would be your step here. And we can see here the next file we need to edit is our Androidmanifest.xml. So if we go back here to our Android Studio file, this is the actual line that we're going to actually add to our file here. If we go back to Rollbar, I'm going to put in this particular token because this is the token associated with the new account that we set up, this new project. And the final thing we're going to do to initialize Rollbar, we're going to go ahead and edit our main activity.java. But if you've done any Android development, you know that's a really common place where you're going to do a lot of different things. So right in here is where we're going to create a couple of lines and create the instance of Rollbar. This is going to allow the Rollbar SDK to send handled or unhandled exceptions and errors to Rollbar. You can also send in custom messages and custom fields as well. So if we go back here to Android Studio, let's actually go ahead and we're going to run the application. So what this is going to do, we've already started the emulator, but what this is going to do is it's going to build the application. It's going to install the application on the emulator, and then it's going to start the application for us. So we can see here the application is now started. And as you can see here, we have a very basic tip calculator. So if we go through here and just click around a little bit, and we click the clear button, and we can see that the application froze. Okay. So if we go back and look at Rollbar now, we can see that we've got some new errors that have been generated within the tool. Okay. And if you're familiar with Rollbar, the rest of sort of the workflows are pretty self-explanatory. Let's go back and pick our particular project. Okay, so now you can see that we've got some errors that we've generated in the tool. I wanted to briefly pause and go back and talk about some things that we see out there today. So we work with a lot of other customers out there, and maybe they're using log monitoring, and maybe something they're using like Splunk or Sumo Logic. They're really only able to monitor production. It's really more of an infrastructure focused type of tool. The information you get on the stack trace is pretty limited, and some of the other things are pretty limited. Same thing with Apm Tools. So we have a lot of customers that come to us and say, well, gosh, we already use AppDynamics or New Relic. How do those differ from a tool like Rollbar? And as you can see here, they're really used mainly in production. And again, the stack trace information that they're analyzing is pretty basic. Also, with any type of observability tool, sort of the same thing. It's mainly more used in production only and for infrastructure, and really has some very basic stack trace analysis, no sort of intelligent grouping whatsoever, right? And if you kind of get finally to what we're doing here at Rollbar, is we really provide you rich contextual information so that developers have the context to fix errors very quickly. We're actually going to be grouping the errors together in an intelligent way using machine learning. And we also have full automated workflows. So when an issue comes in Rollbar, you can have it automatically create a Jira ticket, open an issue in PagerDuty, send an event to Datadog, send a webhook into some other system if you want to as well. So I briefly wanted to mention, we're going to log into New Relic. Because a lot of customers use a tool like New Relic, I did briefly wanted to touch on this. So if we go in here, and we can see this is a mobile application project we have set up. So just wanted to, in real time, you can kind of see sort of the differences here. So you can see crashes by app version. New Relic will give you insight more into performance related types of issues. And if we go down here and look at crash analysis, we can get some information about, okay, what was the actual error that occurred. Let's click on this. Let's click on this. This is what I was looking for. So we can see the actual method that generated the error. We can get, an exception, the message, the actual message itself. But there's a lot of things here that don't give a developer the kind of information they're going to need to fix the problem quickly. There's no integration with source control. There's no way to correlate what users of the application are directly related to the errors. And as I mentioned earlier, there's really no intelligent grouping. So, every time an error, it's just going to blast New Relic with another error, but it's hard to determine, is that similar or is it related to the previous error? Is that a completely different error than this other error? You really don't have any intelligent way of doing that. So that makes it more complicated. And then the other thing, and this is obviously getting into the Rollbar versions API, but did this error occur in a previous version of the product? Or is it a new error that's only occurred in this build? You have really no insight into that whatsoever with a tool like New Relic. So it's a great tool, more of an observability APM type of tool. Really not going to help developers quickly triage and figure out what the problem is. Not going to give developers the context they need to solve the problem. It's a completely different type of tool. So briefly wanted to shed some light on that and give you an insight into how you can get started using mobile applications with Rollbar. Go to our YouTube channel to get more information about other informative videos like this, or go to our website and reach out if you have additional questions.